And it is time to check in with another head boys basketball coach in Northeastern Wisconsin, and it is Nate Rykal joining us from Bayport High School. Hey, Coach, thanks for coming on the Justapod.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
All right, so I'm looking at the sheet of paper here with all my notes, and all of a sudden you're at Bayport High School for 21 years already. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Talk about your 21 years there so far, and maybe give us a little bit of a history if we can go back a little bit and really how your coaching career began. Obviously, you went to Regis High School in Eau Claire, but give us the background for some of our listeners out there and viewers that might not know much about head coach Nate Rykal.
Well, I grew up with it. My whole family was really into sports. My dad coached youth basketball from the time I was crawling around in the gyms, eating dust or whatever. Uh, and my stepdad was a head coach at Menominee High School in Wisconsin. Then, after I was done playing, I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. I was recruited to play football at Eau Claire and Stout. I chose to go to Stout. And then about 2 weeks before the season, I decided I didn't want to have to try to put on 20 pounds and team. And do that type of thing. So I went to Stout for a year. And during that year, I ended up getting a call from my high school coach, Bill Ullman. And he asked me if I would be interested in coaching his son and his eighth grade team at Immaculate Conception, where I went to grade school. So I did that for a year. Then I missed sports and I got recruited to play basketball at Mid-State Tech College with Jeff Kaminsky. Played there for a year, played 34 basketball games in that year, really enjoyed it. Was in business administration. Was my second major. My first major at Stout was construction management. That obviously didn't work out. Then I ended up going to Superior, where I was in Phy and health and got that going right away. And while I was up there, I went up there to play. 5 point guards came out for the team, and coach asked me if I might be interested in coaching because they only had two coaches at the time. So that's when I started doing my coaching stuff. So I gave up the career of playing and decided to get into the coaching, and it's worked out really well.
It really has. 341 wins, by the way, at Bayport. Overall, 357 wins in your career. Let's talk about this Bayport program. Obviously, always strong, you guys, always in the mix in the Fox River Classic. This year, no different. You already started off with a 52-39 victory over Oshkosh West out of the Fox Valley Association. 11-7 last year in the Fox River Classic, a fifth place finish, 14-11 overall. But when we get into this roster, your roster looks entirely different than last year, not just because of graduation, but obviously you bring in some new talent via the transfer, if you will. Got a couple of brothers coming in here, one that's banged up right now, but you also have AJ Ivy that transferred from a school down in Illinois. But before we get into those guys, Coach, let's just talk about some of your returning guys. And it really starts with Sawyer Durkee, a really good looking senior, 6'4". He was 4 of 7 from the field the other night, 19 points in that victory against Oshkosh West. And he also was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Let's start there. Let's talk with or about Durkee and what he brings to your program.
Yeah, Dirk's just a great kid. He's been a big part of our program for 3 years. We asked him to come up as a youngster, and he's been on the varsity for 3 years, even a little bit in his freshman year. So 4 years, a partial varsity guy. Just a great kid from a great family. His younger brother is our manager, one of our managers. So really enjoy having Dirk around. He shows a lot of toughness. Obviously, shoots free throws well. He was 10 for 10 from the line the other night. But he's just a solid guy that brings it every single day. Really like the way that he is becoming a leader for us.
And you take a look at another returning starter, Mikey Jones, 6'2" senior, 4 points, 3 rebounds, and talk about his game a little bit and how much you're going to rely on his presence this year. So there's your top 2 seniors we're talking about right now.
Yeah, so Mikey Jones and Matt Stevens both were football players. Matt was the quarterback in the football team. Mikey was a cornerback defense. So two guys that were really into it in football. Came in a little banged up for sure with Matt. Just glad they're both healthy and ready to go because they both bring so much leadership to our team. They're just smart basketball players. Both really Matt brings a little more size. and toughness inside. Mikey's got that toughness outside on the guards. Plays great defense. One of our best defenders for the last couple of years, and really a great passer and really good. Both just great teammates. Him and Dirk. All three of those guys are just great teammates and do what it takes for us to be as successful as we're going to be.
When you're talking about Bayport, yeah, the subject of football is going to come up. We already talked about your football shortened career at UW Stout where you were going to play, but you've coached some great football players. Jack Plum comes to mind. Went to Iowa, right? Big kid. Matt Stevens, 6'4". Wanted to ask you a question about that. The fact that Bayport is so dominant in football, they go to the state championship game for the second year in a row. How much did that set back Stevens and Jones, just to name those two?
Just a little bit, but it's a good problem to have. You just want those guys to be so successful, and our coaches do a really good job of working together, and the players do a good job of mixing things up. I mean, in the summer, they'd have a 7-on-7 thing and a basketball thing in the same day. We tried not to make that happen. The year before it happened on the same day. This year, we tried to schedule around that a little bit so the guys wouldn't have to choose between the two. So it takes a little bit of finagling around, but love having those guys. They compete so hard, and love having those multi-sport athletes.
I failed to mention some of the starters that you lost. Caden Hendricks, obviously, Maddox Cornett went on to St. Norbert, I believe, Mondes Kelly, and Noah Thomas. So definitely some guys that you need to replace.
Mondis is at Eau Claire also, so two college guys, and then Caden went right into he's going to be a firefighter, so he went right into that and was kind of doing some of that stuff so he's really a mature. We're losing some maturity there, and some really good kids that brought us a lot, but really in that second half of the season last year. First half of the season was rough. We had a lot of close losses. We had a 5-point loss to Appleton North, and we had a one possession deal where it was tied and we turned it over. I mean, last year, early in the year. And, if that game goes differently, I think the season maybe, starts out a little better and we get a little more confidence. Well, that didn't happen. And, ended up having some really close losses that hurt the record until that second half. We were the second best record in the league. I think we lost 2 games in that second half of the league and really turned things around. And I think that's spearheading us into this year.
Yeah, it's all about momentum sometimes, right? You get on a roll, confidence plays a big part in high school athletics. Let's talk about some of your other seniors. And I know one of these kids has been having some illness issues. Jeezy Gerald, a senior, 6'1", been a little bit under the weather. Looks like he'll be out for your game tonight against Stevens Point. But nonetheless, talk about his game. He did play, even though he was under the weather the other night against Oshkosh West.
Yeah, he didn't let us know till after the game, but we could kind of weren't the way they usually are. He usually brings a lot more energy than that. He gave me a call yesterday and today and let me know he's just really not feeling well still. So we'll be without him tonight. But he brings an athleticism to the team. He's got some really good moves offensively, and he's really improving on defense.
And Roman Binns and Easton LeBlond, guys that are returning as seniors. Big contributions are you expecting from either one of those guys?
From Roman especially. Roman is our actually leading percentage 3-point shooter in the history of Bayport at 49.9% or something like that right now. Really had a nice year last year. Just a smart, heady player. Needs to keep improving on defense. He struggled a little bit the other night, but he's going to get better at that, and he's going to be a big part of our plans. We've got 10 guys really that are going to play a decent amount. Hudson and Camden Finland from the JV team, and then Carson Rowland also from the JV team are guys that will round out that top 10. And then there's other guys like Klusman that may have a chance to break his way in. I'm really honest with the guys, and I tell them straight up where I think they're at. So I have no problems just, letting everybody know that he's kind of on the outside looking in and working for next year, but so be ready and maybe your chance will come. There's no guarantees in it because we have so many good players, but that's kind of how our program is right now. And it's tough for some of those kids that are right on that edge, but at the same time, that's, the best programs. They have quite a few good players.
So the headline in the off season was a good one. I think I don't know if you bought any lottery tickets this summer or not, but you kind of we'll say you filled up your bingo card, okay? We'll
Yeah,
place it as that. Got to talk about these three transfers. This is pretty amazing right here. And this is something that can really flip, not that you need to flip your program around because you always been winning, but the fact that you can add some talent through a couple of transfers. This is big time news right here. So JT Meyer and JJ Meyer, brothers from Monroe, their family moves up into the district. So you pick up a couple of big players there. And AJ Ivy, another transfer that I mentioned earlier out of Illinois. Let's talk about the Meyer kids here. And one of them, unfortunately, JJ Meyer, an ACL injury suffered back in April, but it sounds like he's ahead of schedule, might be back in January. And then his brother JT the other night, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 6'8". JT is JJ 6'10". And I know in the past you've had some big time players and some tall players, but not like this. This is a really interesting look potentially, maybe even a twin tower look. Talk about the Meyer kids and AJ Ivy as well.
yeah, it gives us an interesting look. Both all of them are really good kids. We get a call all of a sudden. Actually, what happened last year? I'm in my classroom, and the principal walks up to my classroom, and I'm like, "What's he doing here?" What's going on? He asked me to come out there, and he says, "Hey, we got these two kids coming," and this was the week of the state tournament. We got these two
Yeah.
kids coming in for a visit on Friday. They're going to be moving here from Monroe. They're 6'8" and 6'10". I'm like, yeah, who's putting you up to this? What kind of joker? Did Trader put you up to this? What's the deal? And he's like, no, no, really, I'm serious. I said, well, I'll be at the state tournament. I said, I'll be down there like I am every year. And so I ended up meeting those guys on a Zoom call the next week, right before they were going to head out to an AAU tournament. So the first time I met them was on a Zoom call similar to this. And I'm like, so yeah, and I just was like, "There's no way, this is bull." Then I looked up their stuff, and holy crap! Yeah, okay, they're big. Yep, and they got some skill. And JT has really improved since he got here in June, and he really works hard at it to get better. JJ, obviously, he's having a hard time. It's tough for him with having to sit out there and watch all this while he's injured, and he's frustrated. He's a goofy guy, funny dude. We had a good time with him, but yeah, those guys bring a lot with their size. I think JT struggled. It's the worst I've ever seen him shoot it. The other night he was 0 for 5 from three, so we had some discussions about that and how he needs to maybe go inside and get a couple more buckets and then wait for better opportunities from the outside, because he is very capable shooting the three outside, and he's shown that during the summer and during the fall here too. And then
And AJ Ivy, that transfer from Illinois, 8 points, 3 rebounds, a couple of assists the other night. Talk about him and his athleticism.
just brings another level of athleticism. A guy that can really take it to the basket. Has a lot of a scoring ability. Thing with him is we need him just to work a little better at getting other guys involved and then waiting for his opportunities and not forcing opportunities. I think guys get a little bit. Especially in the first game, they get a little jumpy and want to show what they can do. And I think that happened with JT and AJ, and they just need to let things come to them. Once they get a little more comfortable, I think we'll be just fine.
I'm going to ask you about some former players. We already mentioned Jack Plum. Um, when you're a high school coach like you've been for so long, do you find yourself wondering what these guys end up doing? Obviously, through the grapevine, you find out, where a lot of these guys went to college. Do you kind of follow your old guys? Jake Hottenstein comes to mind from your state team. Uh, Cordell Tinch, unbelievable athlete, right? Sprinter, track and field. How much do you follow your old guys and just, I know there's social media you can follow and see what they're doing family wise and children wise and marriage wise. Maybe talk about that from a coaching standpoint, how you don't forget about your past players and you really try to stay in tune in what they're doing as adults.
Yep, I try to follow guys on Twitter and stuff like that, but I'll text with certain guys also the guys, there's some guys that are more interested in staying in contact with me than, also. So a little, like Cordell will text me back, thanks, coach, whatever. And I see Jake Hottenstein a couple times a year at least. We were over at his house. And kids went swimming at his house last summer, so stay in touch with him a little bit. Jack I'll text with every now and then and see where he is, and his brother Sam. So yeah, certain guys you certainly stay in touch with a little more than others. They make an effort toward you. You make an effort toward them. It's obviously really difficult when you've been here for 21 years to try to stay in touch with every single
Yeah.
guy. But, I mean, I had Eric Hebel, a guy that was on my first team here at Bayport, just texted me last night. Hey, coach, good luck this year. Looking forward to watching you play tomorrow night. And then I sent him a schedule. So, yeah. And then Eric Momartz actually coaches at De Pere, darn him. But former player here, former quarterback, and former player here also on one of
Yes.
the two teams I coached here too. So, yeah, definitely stay in touch with certain guys a little more than others, but really enjoy when I get a chance to see those guys or text with them or call them.
Yeah, because that's the finished product, right? Because your job as a basketball coach isn't just to win games, but it's to make your young men become great men, right?
Yep,
So
that's
it's,
the
yeah,
hope. That's the hope, and that's what we're trying to do here. It's not always about, we go through a lot of things during practice and during the season about adversity and things like that, and you're going to deal with that in life. And hopefully,
yeah,
these lessons you've learned here will help you become a better husband, a better brother, a better son, just a better person all around.
yeah. I think the easiest thing to compare, coach, is life to sports, right? There are so many similarities between life and sports. It's winning and losing, right?
It
It
is,
doesn't
and
matter.
you're going to face adversity in life, and how are you going to deal with that? We try to teach kids to deal with those things and winning and success too. When you
Yeah.
have that, how do you deal with it? Are you humble? Do you do things the right way? Are you thankful for other people? I mean, these are things that we talk about on the daily in our program. We have a quote every single day. That quote yesterday was, "First we will be best, then we will be first." It doesn't happen in the other order, right? You got to
Yeah.
do things the right way all the time. Make sure you're handling your business in the classroom, being on time, working as hard as you can all the time. Doing your responsibilities, getting your homework done, being in every single class. All that stuff is so important. And you be best at that before you're going to be first, and do the best that you possibly can.
Yeah, love that quote for sure. So we're visiting with head coach Nate Rykal today from Bayport High School, episode number 4 of the Justapod podcast through Just a Game. So, yeah, been a lot of fun here. We got to close out with this. I want to talk about the conference a little bit, obviously, and this is a conference that suddenly gets better because all of a sudden the West De Pere Phantoms are in it. So when I look at the top 5 here, besides you guys, you have De Pere, West De Pere, Notre Dame, Sheboygan North. That is a very tough upper half of this FRCC. Let's talk about it. Obviously, De Pere for many years now has been kind of the team that everybody's chasing. Do you see that changing? Do you still feel the Redbirds are kind of at that spot where they've been for so many years with Coach Winchester?
Well, there's certainly a wonderful program that has like 700 wins in a row in the conference. Actually, I'm not sure exactly what the number is. I know what the over here, but the last time they did lose was to us, so I'm hoping that'll happen again this year, and we can bookend that and start a different thing going from our side. They've been very fortunate to have lots of really good talent and lots of great kids that have played really hard and done a great job for them. So they're the team. They're the team that's still on top. We did well against them in the summer, and we're hoping that will continue again when we get into the regular season here. But they're not as talented as they have been. They don't have those Division I guys and as many scholarship players as they've had. So they've been really fortunate, and Brian does a terrific job over there. We get along really well, contrary to what a lot of people might think. We actually worked together on some things and he was helping me with Huddle the other day because it's all new. There's some new things on it, and he was showing me how to do this and that. So we talk. every now and then, and I appreciate his help with certain things, and he gets mine on other things sometimes too. So, we love competing against each other. Our programs love to compete against each other. I think we're going to have some great games this year with them. And then, you look at Sheboygan North. They've been really tough, even since Desautel's been there, and now they got the guy that's been there for several years again, and he does a great job there too. Notre Dame, Babinski does a really good job there. Then you said West De Pere, they took kind of a big hit when their big guy left and went to whatever it's called now, DME, and but they're
Yeah.
still be good. They got lots of talent in that program. A couple of their freshmen that they have played AAU with my son too, and they're good players. So it'll be fun to watch this stuff unfold as we go through in the next several years.
Yeah, I think you're referencing Trey Rodemaker, the big fella at West De Pere. So, yeah, that is a big loss indeed. And there's another school that went deep into the high school football playoffs, in fact, winning the state championship. So, a couple of their guys might be a little slow to the party, so to speak, this year. But yeah, Eric Worth, really like what he has done at Sheboygan North, taking over for Tom Destatel in his 7th season, by the way. Played at Sheboygan North. Really a scrappy guy. His personality is kind of what his team plays like, right? Kind of along the lines. He kind of reminds me of yourself during games on the bench. Very active, and the team takes on his personality.
For sure, and that's how he played too. He played with that scrappiness and getting after it style, and I'm sure Brian did too, and certainly I did as well. But yeah, I mean, you do show your personality on the sidelines sometimes. Try to stay calm most of the time, but every now and then that fieriness comes out, and it certainly happens with Eric. And I think Bobinski's really similar that way too, guys. We got a great group of coaches in our league. A lot of fun with that group of coaches.
Yeah, you throw West De Pere into the mix. That is a nice little gain for the conference. That's going to make things much more interesting for sure. I got to ask you about this. I just thought of it. You seem pretty comfortable in this interview process, and it's not a surprise because you haven't done it for a few years. You did it last spring at the state tournament, but you have spent some time on the WIAA television network doing state basketball. You returned to it last year. I know there was a gap in there where you hadn't done it for a while, but years back you used to. Talk about that experience and being on camera a little bit and just commentating on the high school state games,
It's enjoyable. I think it just seems kind of natural to me. You're just talking about something that you like, and you just
right?
talk about things that you see. And I got asked to do it. I think right after we made it to state 2 years in a row. I got asked to do it, so I did it in 2013, and I was an alternate for Jerry Pettigrew for lots of years. And then, unfortunately, for Coach and for our basketball community, he passed away, and he was sick during that last, so that's why I got the chance to come in there. But yeah, feel bad about that thing, and certainly not the way I wanted to get into that situation. But yeah, because he's just a legend and has done so much for our game.
Yeah, that's a name that I should be ashamed I haven't mentioned yet in any of my interviews. But wow, Jerry Pettigrew, over 1,000 wins. But the number that just is crazy to me is he did it for 54 years, I believe, in total. He coached basketball.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't see myself doing it that long.
Yeah, he did it to the bitter end. He did retire though, and I think he got was he out for sure a year, if not two, before he unfortunately passed away. But yeah, what a career for him.
Yeah, but he still stayed active with the WBCA, being the executive director, and still did a
Yep.
lot for our game even during that time. Unfortunately, he got sick in the end and passed away. But what a great man and what a great person for our game for all these years.
Yeah, and a big proponent of the shot clock, I might add. He was all about getting that shot clock in. So we won't go there, though. That's a discussion for another day. But hey, if Jerry Pettigrew wants it, it can't be a bad thing, right?
Well, I'm all for it. I have been
Yeah,
for years. So,
yeah,
yep.
I believe that. Hey, let's close out with this. Give me a couple key factors for your team to have the success that you need this year. Just give me two or three really key things going into the conference play, especially that's going to make you hit the peak when it comes to March, end of February.
Just staying consistent every day, working every day in practice to get better. I know people say that, but actually really working and being intentional about getting better every single day. Everyone paying attention, being on the same page, and playing for each other. We have three things we talk about: playing with intensity, and if we do that every single day in practice and in games, we're going to be good. If we play smart, okay, make the right plays for you. Know what's good for you and what's good for someone else. Okay, use your strengths, avoid your weaknesses, kind of thing. And then playing together. I think if we play together, we're going to be a lot better than if we try to play as individuals. And I think as the year goes on, we're going to get better and better at that.
Wow, this has been fun. A fast 25 minutes, by the way, or so we've been on here chatting with Nate Rykal today from Bayport High School. Give him a follow, by the way, at Bayport Boys BB on X. If you want to follow Bayport basketball, you can surely do that. But hey, Coach, thanks for your time once again. We wish you luck throughout the season, including tonight, a home game against Spash right there at Bayport High School. So good luck tonight and the rest of the season. Stay healthy. I'm sure we'll catch up with you throughout the season.
Thanks, Craig. Nice being with you again.
All right, that was head coach Nate Rykal from the Bayport Pirates, head boys basketball coach entering his 21st season at Bayport High School. Thanks again for joining me, and we will have Todd Deshane up next from West Appear as we carry on with the Justapod podcast right here for Just a Game. My name is Craig Bone. Until next time, have yourself a great day, everybody. Goodbye.